Hi everyone, I am about to show you my new favorite method for wrap removal. As you can see, my index finger I just did, so I could show you what it looks like. I have not cleaned this, I have not used cuticle remover on it, I have done nothing except remove the wrap. So to do this, I mean, you can see how nice and clean it is, and there's no dry spots or tears or nicks or anything in the nail. So to do this, you're going to need your wrap remover or nail polish remover. Non-acetone recommended, of course. And then what I'm using is our cuticle oil pen. It's actually empty. You can see there's no oil in it. But I'm using it for the brush because this uses a brush to remove the wrap. This is actually the same technique as the, my toes are in the picture. Can you see my toes? See if I can focus on them. I have Teal the Show on my toes today. Whee, pretty toes. Anyway, slight side thing there. Anyway, all you need is the brush and the nail polish remover and then something to wipe your nail off afterwards. Kleenex, paper towel, napkin. And here we go. So as usual, you have to break the seal. I've already done it on my thumbnail. You can see I've got, my nails are curved, so even after I break the seal, they tend to just glom right back on. But I've got a little bit of the edge picked up. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. You just want enough to get that remover underneath the wrap. Since this is roller disco, one of the silver backed wraps, it's probably going to take a little longer, but we'll see. So you want to dip your brush in the remover. I had some, but it all leaked back into the bottle. Hang on. Okay. And the brush is going to soak that right up. The nice thing I like about this is with the cuticle pusher, the little rubber cuticle pusher, it didn't soak up the remover, so it ended up dripping all over the place. This soaks it up, and since this is kind of a, this brush has kind of a, it's more of a plastic than a hairbrush. It doesn't soak into the brush, but it picks it up so it doesn't drip. And then you just get it underneath there, just squish it in there. And just like with the cuticle pusher, you just keep pushing and sliding and dipping and pushing. It may look like I'm not doing much at first. That's because part of the brush is not underneath, but part of it is. It's really hard to see unless I actually like lift this up and show you, but you can see it's already starting to lift up more than it was before. I mean, you can lift it up and then stick the brush underneath so that it all goes under, but it's not really necessary, and I'll show you in a minute why it's actually kind of cool that it doesn't. But you just keep going in there, and the brush will go down a little further each time. Like I said, it might take a while with this silver backed wrap. That would be the sparkles or the metallics. This one is kind of a metallic and sparkle because it's got the holographic finish on it. But the backing is still that standard silver backing that the other sparkle finishes get and metallics. You could also use an old makeup brush. I tried that first, and I actually had some problems. Some of my brushes might have been too old. They kind of disintegrated. Other ones, I guess because they aren't intended for rough use like this, because, I mean, it's got nail polish remover on it instead of makeup. The bristles started just popping out of the brush, and I ended up with this just mess of hairy bristles all over my nail because they stuck to the adhesive. So as you can see, if I show you, Like I said, since my fingers are curved, the wrap doesn't like to stick up, but it's coming up a lot more. And again, you just do this. The reason this is better, I think, than the cuticle pusher is because of what I showed you on that finished nail. It's you can't push too hard. The brush, instead of, you won't rip's probably not the right word, but we tell people not to peel their wraps because that'll damage your nail. When you're doing it with the cuticle pusher, the rubber cuticle pusher, if you're not really careful, you can actually push a little too hard and peel instead of letting the polish remover dissolve the adhesive. But with the brush will bend instead of pushing further than it can, so it won't peel the wrap. And so in the end, you end up with a much cleaner removal and a much smoother nail with less chance of damage. Some people can use the cuticle pusher and not get any damage. Other people have reported problems with it. So this is another option for you to try. And you can see it's getting pretty far down there now. I think it's about half. Of course, I'm doing my thumb, which is my biggest nail. I should have done one of my other fingers, but that's how the video ends up being made. So I'm just going to keep doing it. Now you can see the entire brush is getting in there, and it's really allowing that remover to penetrate. When I notice that it's starting to get toward the end, I will actually purposely keep some of the brush on the outside. Because what then happens, I'm not sure how many of you have had this, but I have had the problem where I'm going along, and I kind of stop paying attention, and it gets to the end, and the wrap pops off, and I can't find it. It's popped who knows where, and it's gone. And then days or weeks later, I find all these wraps all around the house as they get, the little adhesive on the back gets attached to things and dragged all over the place. But with this, if you have half of the brush on the outside, I found it actually grabs the wrap. And so when it comes off, but it's still on the brush. And so then you can just pick it off and put it somewhere where it's not going to drop onto the floor or get stuck to your pants or in your hair or wherever it ends up popping off to. So it's kind of cool. So I've got, looks like about a little more than halfway at this point. And I just keep adding more remover and brushing it along. It may take a little longer than the cuticle pusher that you're used to, simply because and if it does, that means that you actually were doing what you shouldn't and pushing too hard and peeling rather than letting the adhesive dissolve. So if you do find it takes a little bit longer, that's probably a good thing. Right? Yeah? Probably, right? I know it's easy to want to peel and take less time, but really this is better for your nails. Oh, running out of remover again. I've also found with this method, like I said, since it doesn't drip and it's stuck more in the brush, you actually end up using less of the remover. I found myself going through this remover really fast because it would just drip so much. I had to keep using more and more of the remover to try and get enough onto the nail. And with this method, we're almost there. I think it's time for me to try and get only half. This one seems to have kind of come apart, but let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, it didn't actually grab it, but there we go. And it's off. And once I wipe my finger, you can see, look how clean that is. Let me try and focus it in close. Can you see how clean that is? I'm not sure that it's focusing well. But there's absolutely no dry spots on there. And if all I did was, run some water over this to get rid of the remover, it would be good to go. Well, I'd probably put a little nail oil on it just because it's good for your nails, but all set, all done. And that's the method. Empty cuticle oil brush, or pen, so I can use the brush. You might be able to find a brush like this at the dollar store that has kind of that, I don't know if you can see in the light here, it's got kind of that sheen, it's that kind of, it almost reminds me of optical fibers or something, but it's that material that's not hair, it's more of a plasticky kind of material. And I find that that's worked best for this method. And that's it. I'm going to turn the video off and post this. Talk to you all later.